Hello, boys and girls. Today we're going to talk about the whole animal kingdom at one time. That's a really big chart, and we're going to break it down into pieces. This science lesson is more for the second graders, but I'm going to put it on so everyone can watch it if you're interested. Maybe you're a kid who just really likes animals and wants to learn more. When we first grouped the animals, we grouped them like this. And for kindergartners, we actually just started by taking all living things and grouping them into people, plants, and animals. But what I want you to know is that there's actually 3 more groups of living things that you'll learn about as you'll get older. And those would be fungi. Those would be things like what? Mushrooms, or even things like yeast would belong in this group. Then there's the monorians, and those are things, very, very simple creatures that have no cell structures on the inside, and you can think of those as bacteria, or if it's simpler, just think of them as germs. And then here are the protists, and those would be things like algae. Because we haven't talked about those much, about these 2 groups very much, I just wanted to show you a few pictures of what those might look like. First of all, here are some of the very simplest ones, the ones that we talked about who are called monorians. Those are the bacteria. And this creature right here is a vertebrate. He's a fuzzy black dog named Jack. Here, this is a book that's talking more about bacteria, and that's a cool picture there on the left. It says, bacterial forms range from waving filaments to long chains to individuals with moving whip-like flagella. That's how they move. This picture is from a book called Pond Water Zoo. I'd recommend it if you're interested in learning more about animals. And then I might film this book for you. It's called Tiny Creatures, The World of Microbes. Okay, so all of these are pictures of bacteria. And I'm going to turn the page. Whoa. And then this is from this last group, the algae group. That's kind of what these are creatures that do have cell walls. They do have organelles inside them. So you can think of these more like algae, like you might see in the ocean or in a pond or even in a puddle. Some of these are interesting because if you picture them like out in the sea, there's some called diatoms filling the sea. This is a diatom. Say diatom. So how would I see that? Would I go swimming around and there'd be that soccer ball-like looking thing floating around in the ocean? What would a scientist need to see this? They would need a microscope, of course. All of these are microscopic. Now here, these are not microscopic. You've probably seen things like that. But these are microscopic. Look at that. Look what God has made at a microscopic level that you and I have probably never seen before. How cool are those shapes? Now we're getting on to things that are still in that protist group, but they're algae. This is probably more what you think of when you think of algae, yes? And then we move into plants. The next group of things that we have are the, what? Animals, right? All of the animals. Now, when you think of an animal, you probably think of something like a frog or something even bigger, like a tiger. But actually, all of these creatures in my big chart are considered animals. Look how many different kinds of animals there are. And the only animals on this whole chart that have bones are way up here. That's my cord. Way up here on the far side of the chart. Those have bones. Do you see them? Everything else has no bones. So all the rest of them are what? If they have no bones, what's the word for an animal with no bones? These animals down here are all vertebrates. Everything else is an invertebrate. Now we're going to go through all of these invertebrates one by one, and we're going to learn about them. But for now, I just want you to take a look at this chart, and we'll talk about it some more soon. Bye, boys and girls.